And we're back, guys. We're at the Porsche Grand Prix in Germany, one of my favorite tournaments. If you're not familiar, all contestants, singles and doubles, they have the opportunity to literally drive a brand new Porsche for free all week. And they learn about the engineering, the history of Porsche, the brand. And listen, guys, German cars are some of the best cars in the world. I had the opportunity to purchase a brand new Mercedes Benz, and I can tell you the handling is amazing. And look, I've driven just about every Porsche as well. Beautiful engineered cars. They're amazing. But I want to talk about Emma Raducanu in this match here earlier with Angelique Kerber. But first, let's do a quick rundown of the scores on the day. Here in the singles draw, guys, Ons Jabeur comes back and defeats Ekaterina Alexandrova in 3. That was an amazing win for Ons. Marta Kasiuk takes out Laura Sigmund in 3. Potapova takes out Ludmila in 3. Coco Gauff takes out Sasha Vickery in 3. Sabalenka gets the victory over Badosa, who had to retire due to injury. And we're going to talk about this match here. Now, a lot of the earlier matches went 3 sets. And, a lot of people are saying, why did these matches go 3 sets? This and that. Listen, guys, this is literally the first clay tournament for a lot of these players. They're going to be rusty. You have to warm up, get used to the courts. They're playing, in most cases, players that have been active. They've been playing clay matches. So a lot of the stars, the top seeds, look, they had to be battle tested. They had to find their way in these matches, find their rhythm and form. And that takes time. A lot of people, they just don't get it. But I want to talk about Emma Raducanu. Now, she gets the victory over Angelique Kerber. And I felt she played very, very solid, right? She won the first set 6-2, the second set 6-1. Overall, she served good. She had 4 aces in this match. She won 65% of her first serves, 45% of Angelique's first serves, 85% of Angelique's second serves. Now, listen, Kerber had a ton of break points as we look at Nooney, one of the best chair umpires in the business. He's a fair umpire. He calls it as it is, no favoritism. Great, classy man there. Now, listen, guys. Kerber was literally 2 for 11 on break points. Emma Raducanu 7 for 14. That was a difference maker. She she had several more breaks than Angelique, and she was the overall favorite to win this match, and she got the job done. But the reason I want to talk about Emma tonight is I want to take a look at the French Open. Now, Emma's ranked 303rd on the World Tour. I mean, she'll gain some points for this match, so that will improve her ranking a bit. She's a former top 10 player, winning the US Open a few years ago. But since then, she hasn't done much, right, guys? 25-9 that year. She's gone 17-20 and 22, 5-5 last year. But so far, she's 8-5 this year. She's winning matches, right? That's good. Her next match, she's going to take on Linda Noskova from the Czech Republic. Now, they played once. Emma Raducanu won that match. It was also on clay at the French Open a couple of years ago and went 3 sets. Emma's the underdog, by the way, in that match. But I want to talk about Emma and the French Open in particular because Emma Raducanu right now, she's not going to get a wild card, right? There's several people ahead of her, and the reality here, she's going to have to come through qualifiers. So I want to talk about a couple things. And I think I'll do a post in the community. Do you guys think that Emma should get a wild card into the French Open? Yes or no? Comment below. And again, keep the comments respectful, guys. We don't want to disrespect these players. I'm good energy. The whole theme for this channel is good energy, adult, healthy conversations. We want to give these players their flowers. They're all amazing, talented athletes. If they're doing something wrong, that's fair game. Let's talk about it. If they're in a controversy that's, legitimate, we'll talk about it. But we don't want to disrespect these players. We can have adult conversations and respect each other's opinions. It irks me when people come to the comments and they just want to bash players and talk trash. There's really no need for that, right? We're adults, right? So I want to talk about Emma in the French Open. Do you guys think she deserves an entry in the French Open? Now, again, I'm going to remind you, the last couple seasons, she hasn't done well at all, guys. I mean, we're talking about the 23 season, 5-5, injury full season. in the 22 season, 17 and 20. Does she deserve a wild card? Now, in terms, if she doesn't improve her ranking this summer, I think she deserves a spot into the U.S. Open for sure. As a former champion, without a doubt, she has to be in the U.S. Open with a wild card. But she's gonna have an opportunity to win. She's gonna have an opportunity to win some matches to possibly qualify for the U.S. Open, but it's gonna be tough. Most likely she's not gonna be able to represent the UK, the Great Britain, for the Olympics, right? It's just not going to happen, right? There's several other players like Katie Bolter ahead of her that are playing legitimate, solid tennis. She's going to need a deep run here in the French Open. I don't think that's going to happen. But the question is, if she gets a wild card into the French Open, which it doesn't look like she is, and let's say she goes deep in that tournament, then it's possible she could represent Great Britain for the Olympics. However, she's going to need to probably make at least the semifinals or the finals for that to happen because she's ranked 303rd. She's going to need a lot of points and then also hope other players like, let's say, Katie Bolter doesn't do anything. And you even have players like, I mean, there's several players ahead of her. Everyone in Great Britain's ahead of her. You know, Heather Watson's freaking ahead of her. You know what I mean? Harriet Dart's ahead of her. For crying out loud, Joanna Konta's ahead of her. That's a joke. But nonetheless, listen, I don't think Emma should get a wild card. That's my personal opinion. Because she's been so injured, but even the few matches she has played, she hasn't won. Okay, she hasn't won a lot of matches since winning the US Open. Personally, I think she should go through qualifiers, and I think she'll win in qualifiers. I think she's playing solid enough tennis right now where I think her next matchup, it's going to be a challenging matchup, but it's a matchup that she can win. She's already beat Linda Noskova, and personally, I think it's going to be a test to gauge where she's at, right? So Linda on clay. Linda, you have to keep in mind, Linda, she's still a teenager, right? She didn't make my top teenage prospects list because I don't feel Linda's a prospect. I think she's a contender. But Linda's only got 47 wins on clay. But then again, Emma's only got 6 wins on clay, right? So, and this is where people they question Emma's durability. And they question, is she really serious? She only has 6 wins on clay. She only has 6 wins on grass. She's a hard court player without a doubt. But this win against Angelique Kerber here, it's a very impressive win. Now, Angelique, I do think is still injured. She hasn't been healthy, even going back to the Indian Wells. And even with that said, I mean, at her age, she is getting older. I just think this is a match Emma has to win. I did take Emma to win as the underdog. She should have won this match. I think Emma's backhand just a little too much for Kerber. Emma's just a little bit too athletic. She's able to just close out to these balls just a little too soon for Kerber. That extra split second was just enough to put Kerber on the back foot behind most of these rallies. But again, the question, should Emma get a wild card into the French Open? I don't think she should get one. And she's 5th in line right now, so the chances are she's not going to get one. She's going to need several people to pull out or cancel, essentially pull out, withdraw from the French Open for her to get in. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think she will qualify. She will have to take on some of these tough clay players, but if she can take out Caroline Garcia and Angelique Kerber, I think she should be fine for making it into the draw. I'm going to be watching. I'll have my popcorn because I'll be very interested to see how she does on clay because she doesn't have a lot of clay experience. And this is where the doubters, they creep in and they say all these things about Emma because Emma literally came out of nowhere. I do remember watching Emma on the ITF, so I'm familiar with her. And it's funny because I watch a lot of her ITF matches. I thought she was a good player, not good enough to come through the draw like she did. That was very shocking. That was very surprising. But I have watched her matches on the lower level, and it's just, look, dreams do come true. And I say it all the time. You never know when it's going to all come together. You never know when you're going to get hot. That's the thing with tennis. The player that has that form and that timing, They can get hot and go through any of these draws. Unfortunately, I just think I just think she's got to work on her serve, right? I think her backhand's top notch. She's mobile. She can move. She can close out. But she has to work on her serve and she has to work on the forehand. If she can continue to do that and mix up her short balls, her drop shots, she needs a lot more variety because the thing with Emma is it's all about the backhand. If she can work on her variety a bit more, I think she'll be a threat. But that run at the US Open, it was all backhand. No one could stop her backhand on hard. But nonetheless, guys, comment below. Do you think Emma should get a wild card into the French Open? That's a question. I certainly, without a doubt, she's going to get a wild card in Wimbledon, and I think she'll get one at the US Open. So she's going to have chances and opportunities to pick up points. But the question is, if she can get into the French Open and go deep, who knows? She might be able to represent Great Britain in the Olympics. It's possible. It's a long shot. I understand that. But it's possible. Tennis in a minute. Comment below. Should Emma get a wild card in the French Open? We'll be back.